So today we're going to service this Manitou 3. Also applies to the Manitou 4. They're basically the same exact fork. Only difference is a few elastomers and the graphics. So yeah. And some tools you're going to need are some vice grips, flathead screwdriver, some pliers, a pick of some sort, 3, 4, and 5 mil Allen keys, some long pliers or a spoke, and maybe a hammer. All right, so the very first thing you want to do, you want to go to the bottom of the fork. You're going to see if we can get these bolts unscrewed. These are very prone to seizing, so just see if you can unscrew them. Just pop them loose. They're also very prone to stripping as well. So, okay, we got this one loose. That's what it looks like when it comes out. So yeah, there you go. And if you're loosening the bolt and it just keeps spinning over and over and not actually unthreading, just go up top here, get the silver adjuster, and just tighten it up all the way. It's going to put more pressure on it and it should hopefully unscrew. And if it still doesn't come out, I'll show you how to do it later. Just leave it alone for now. And if the fitting is stripped, I have this T20 Torx. You can just hammer in here, tap it in. And yeah, I just use one of these little wrenches for the bit. Popped it loose. Make sure you put downward pressure on it when you're unscrewing it. And yeah, it should unscrew nice and good. There you go. All right, so now time for the top caps. You can loosen up the silver adjusters if you can. These are also kind of hard to get off because there's no wrench flats on them. Usually you can just pop them loose with some vice grips. Just kind of be careful, do it slowly, have some patience, and yeah, just go ahead and loosen them up. And yeah, there we go. We got these loosened up, and now time to pull out our stacks. I actually have a new set of elastomers in here, so yeah, there you go. All right, so we got the elastomers out. Now it's time to take off the arch. You pretty much have to do it because it's really hard to put these back on both at the same time. And by the way, this is not a stock arch. It's obviously drilled out. This is a Manitou 4. That's what it looks like that. So yeah. You only have to take off one side of the arch unless you want to like clean it or something. So just gonna run it like this. There you go. All right, so now time to take off this little clip. You want to grab a pick, like a 45-degree one like this. You want to find a little part of this clip right here. There could be a lot of dirt caked up, so you want to clean it away. However, it has like a little edge right here. Then you want to get under it, and you want to kind of pry it out and over like that. It should just pop out. And now just do that to both sides. And once you got those clips off, these lowers should just come right off. There you go. And now we know why this fork was so sticky. Someone used bearing grease instead of SRAM butter. And now if your bolts are still stuck at the bottom of the lowers, here's what you do. You want to grab your elastomer stack. You want to put an extra elastomer on the end so it covers the whole rod. Then you want to shove it in there. And you want to compress this down as you're turning so it puts extra pressure on this damper rod and it doesn't allow it to spin. Now if that still doesn't work, this is your last resort, you can get some of these pliers, these long pliers. You can get them at Hobo Freight. Pop them in there, and soon they will reach this plastic damper rod, which is this one. You want to kind of hammer them in there so they're like wedged in, and that will give you enough leverage to pop this loose. Yeah, and the main thing is you want to put pressure as you're unscrewing it. So yeah, good luck. These are all prone to getting seized all the time. So yeah, there you go. And now let's just go ahead and remove everything else. We got our bushing here, just kind of slides off. There you go. And we have the wiper seal and the clip. So yeah, go ahead, pop it off. Same thing on both sides. And now to take off the damper rods, you want to take off these little clips. They can be kind of hard to take off, so you want to get like a piece of metal to push up against them, like so. They should come out relatively easy sometimes. Yeah, there you go, pop them off. Then you can pop these elastomers off as well, maybe. There you go. And yeah, once you got those clips off and the elastomer, you should be able to just go ahead and push this thing out all the way to the other side. Unless there's a bunch of elastomer goo and stuff in there. So yeah, you could also grab a spoke and yeah, go ahead and push it out. And yeah, here it comes. And finally, we have the lower bushing here. You want to find the little slit here. You want to grab your pick, kind of nudge it apart, push it down. These are relatively flexible, so they usually don't break. I've never broken one. Fingers crossed. So yeah, and just pop it off. There you go. Now you can actually take off the stanchions instead of taking off the arch, because when you put this back together, you kind of have to wiggle them on. So you can just take the stanchion and wiggle it into the lower. But I find it easier to have the stanchions, you know, being held up by something and handling the lower. So yeah, just my opinion, and yeah, do whatever you want. And yeah, there we go. Now we got everything nice and taken apart. Now it's time to clean. And real quick, I'm just going to visualize the damper situation for when these are seized. Got this bolt down here, and then we got the pliers. This is the last resort part. You want to get it in this little hole. There's a little hole here. It's supposed to jam in there. And when you hammer it in, these will kind of like lock in here and seize in. And it should provide enough pressure for you to unbolt this thing. So yeah, again, if you hammer too hard, you could split these open. Ask me how I know. And yeah, just good luck. And now time for cleaning. Obviously, we have these new elastomers here. You should be able to clean all this stuff off with alcohol or acetone or brake cleaner. Again, if you're using brake cleaner, you want to don't spray it directly on the plastic or the rubber seals because it could damage them. Just use it on a paper towel and yeah, don't soak it up too much. And now for the lowers and the stanchions, you want to grab some long pliers. You want to hook a paper towel on the end. You want to put some acetone, brake cleaner, something harsh on here and clean these out. Because these Manitou 3s and 4s are probably some of the most neglected forks like ever. And as you see here in the stanchions, there's a bunch of like built up elastomer residue, a bunch of dirt. This is super common. These are always super neglected and they're very hard to clean out. Here's a little, there you go. See that? Nasty. So yeah, the most important part of any fork rebuild, especially these older elastomer ones, is cleaning out the lowers. Because on most forks, they have like little bushings and little sections. They have like one here, it's about this wide, and have another one like down here. On these older Manitous, the bushing is the whole entire leg. So you got to have this thing spotless if you want this thing to run smooth as well. And often these are caked up in like dirt. There could be water in here, elastomer goo. So you really want to get these clean. All right, now finally we got everything nice and cleaned down. I also took apart the top cap. Here's how you do it. Just grab the bolt here. Unscrew it. This thing pops off. There you go. And then this should pop off as well. There you go. There's also a little plastic bushing right here. So yeah, we got the top cap cleaned up. There's an O-ring here, and there's another O-ring on the underside right here. I'd at least take this one off to clean it up. There's usually a bunch of dirt in this area. And also the threads on here, these are always pretty seized. So you can clean them up with like a pick. And then I put some saran butter on here. And yeah, it should be pretty easy to move. There you go. Nice and smooth. And for replacement parts, we have the elastomers. There's two companies that make them. There's the suspension fork parts and the SDG ones. If you're in Europe, the SDG ones make more sense. So you can get those. There's also the wiper kit. You can buy these, but these are usually these take a long time to wear out. Unless they're cracked or broken, I wouldn't get new ones. So those usually last a long time. And finally, we got the titanium bolt kit. I'll have that in the description as well. You can use my code RETROREV for 10% off. And yeah, because these are usually stripped or, broken. So it's good to get that if you want. And yeah, we got the lowers cleaned up as well. You want these super clean because the bushing slides on the whole entire thing. At least half of it here. And for the stanchions, you want to clean these down as well. Get them nice and good. You also want to clean down in this groove over here where the bushing sits down in there. And yeah, you can pop them off as well. Make them easier to clean. There you go. All right, now time to put together our top cap rods. We're gonna put some saran butter on this little area here. Get your little bushing, slide it on. Then we have this little top cap. Put some saran butter on these prongs in that little part in the middle. Go ahead, slide it on. You wanna line it up with these holes here, like so. Pop it in. Now go ahead and grab your adjuster cap. You wanna put some saran butter on the O-ring. Go ahead, pop it on. And you wanna make sure it moves nice and smooth. If it doesn't, that means your prongs are probably bent and you'll have to bend them. So yeah, just make sure it moves nice and smooth. And then just screw on the little bolt on top and you want to screw this thing all the way down like so. And then have saran butter all along the threads here where that O-ring is. And then just put on all your elastomers. And remember, you want to put saran butter along the shaft and in between them as well where those little spacers are. Because when you compress the fork, these actually move along here. So it's far more important to grease up the inside of the elastomer than the outside. All right, so yeah, we got our stacks done. You want to put some grease on the outside as well. You don't have to put too much because, they don't really ride on the inside of the stanchion, but they could touch it once in a while. And we have our other damper rods. You want to put some saran butter over here. Get your elastomer, slide it on there. This part right here is for the top out, so yeah. All right, so now you want to grease up at the bottom of the stanchion over here where the damper rods ride. And yeah, get your damper rod nice and greased up. You want to grease it up in this area here on the elastomer on these parts as well. And then just grab it and go ahead and drop it in. So yeah, just wiggle those damper rods around and they should come out the bottom like this. Now it's time for our second stage, or bottom out elastomers. So if you have the Manitou 3, this is how your situation is going to look like. Just put it in the only slot and put your bottom out elastomer here. You don't really have much options. But on the Manitou 4, again, we have 3 spots for the clip. So you can put it in the bottommost EFC position, and you can just put one here, another one here. So you have 2 bottom out elastomers, or you can just put it in this normal position right here and just put the other elastomer under it like so. And remember, yeah, if you do put it here, it's not going to do anything in this spot. It's going to be completely useless, but it'll just stay here in case you need it, or if you want to swap it over later or put it in the lower spot. So yeah. All right, so now time for the inner bushings. You want to grease this area up nice and good. Go ahead and grab your bushing and kind of slide it on. There you go. And now just clean down the stanchions and the lowers one last time so you don't mess up your fork. Then you want to put on your clip, you can put on your wiper seal and your bushing in that order. Obviously, grease everything up. All right, now you want to put some grease in your lowers and on the stanchions. It's not about how much you put on, it's how evenly you distribute it. And you also want some on this little area here. You don't want too much because the bushings need room to seat in there. So yeah, go ahead and slide these on now. There you go. You want to kind of rotate them on like so. Pop them on. And now once you got the lower on, you might need to kind of wiggle it or go sideways a little to get it on. Get it on, make sure it moves nice and smooth. Now we got our other bushing. You want to put some grease in between the wiper seal and the bushing. And then the bushing is going to seat into like a groove in there. Just use like a flathead screwdriver to just kind of push it down all the way around into the groove. And yeah, it should go in nice and smooth. There you go. So yeah, if you clean your fork down well, this is how the bushing should seat on. It should be flush with the second lip on the lower. So yeah, get it all nice and greased up. Make sure it moves smooth. And then you want to have your wiper just kind of nudge it down into the groove as well. You also use your screwdriver for this as well. And the wiper seal, same story, just kind of nudge it down. It kind of pops down into its groove. You just put a little bit of pressure and it should pop down like so. And yeah, once you got your wiper seal seated in, you want to grab the pointier part of the clip, put it in the groove of the lower. Go ahead and push the other part in as well. See if you can get both of them in at the same time. And then after that, you want to grab a pick or like a plier or something and just kind of push it down all the way around and try to get it popped in all the way. This is kind of a tricky part. Might take a little bit of time to do, but there you go. So yeah, that's the lowers done. Same thing on the other side. And if it doesn't move nice and smooth, then you probably got something wrong. So yeah. And yeah, we got the arch back on. Should be pretty straightforward. Then grab your stacks. You want to get some saran butter on the threads and that O-ring right there. Loosen them up. Make sure they're on the bottom position right here. And yeah, go ahead and just screw them in. There you go. And yeah, once you got your top caps on, you want to use like a vice grip or something to get them on all the way so no dirt or water gets in there. And then just grab the adjusters, turn them a little bit so it puts some pressure on the damper rods. And yeah, and go ahead and just screw in your bolts at the bottom. There you go. Yeah, just screw these on. You don't want these too tight, you just want them snug. And if when you're tightening them, if they just keep spinning, just put more pressure with the adjuster here. And yeah, there you go. Now you got yourself a fully rebuilt Manitou 3 or 4. So yeah, this thing feels super smooth. I'm really happy with how it turned out. So yeah, if you put in the time, if you use the right grease and you clean it up, it'll feel nice and good. Again, the damping is not going to be very nice, but these are known to be super smooth, and this one definitely lives up to it. So yeah, I hope you found this video useful in some kind of way, and I'll see you guys. Bye.